Springfield, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. After getting a basic understanding of Arabic grammar, what books can one read to expand vocab? You mentioned Jalalain last week. Any other? Barakallahu feek. Tafsir Jalalain.
طيب بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Once you've learned basic Arabic vocabulary, what books can you go towards for vocabulary? Well, you can start off with vocabulary before grammar. Do vocabulary first. Build up enough vocabulary that way you can use it when you have the basic simple grammar. You can't use the grammar and play with the grammar if you have no vocabulary that's rich. Like building. You have a site, you have a building you're trying to rehabilitate. You know how much it's going to cost to gut the building? The roof is bad, the windows are bad, the floors are messed up through damage, through rain. It's going to cost you thousands upon thousands just to go in and do demo. Take the stuff out, gut it out, shell it. So you can't just go into the building with construction and start working on a wall. Oh, I don't have no money. Then 3 months go by. You get some more money. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a basic chunk of money, not all of it, to start and to begin. We're not understanding this concept? To start and to begin. And if not, your momentum is going to be tremendously broken and or disturbed. So therefore, lock down a good number of words, a solid chunk of vocabulary before you even start discussing basic grammar. Once you have a good amount of words, then you start learning some grammatical techniques, and then you start playing with it and mixing him, her, me, past, future, things like this. That's my advice. And you need to get into a class. You need to get into some type of online academy or institute or some type of program and allow your teacher to determine what's best for you. As far as if a brother or sister is incarcerated or someone is in a far location, they're far from classes, then that's a different story. But even then, you still have YouTube. And there's still institutes in which you can enroll in and what? Get into a structured class. But for argument's sake, you don't have none of that. You don't have access to any of that. You want words, so on and so forth. Then you can't go wrong with children's storybooks to learn how to use the dictionary efficiently. The dictionary and how to use it properly, which someone is going to have to show you and teach you, and children's storybooks, children's nursery rhymes, things like this. And Allah knows best. Fadl. Does pulling the garment up like this in the salah take the same ruling as folding it? Similar. It's similar. Is it haram to do it? Does it nullify the salah? Etc. But that's all applies to rolling it up. But pulling it up, rolling up, hemming it up, similar.
This was UK from Durham, North Carolina. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can one cut their nails or shave every Friday? How does one know they're ready for marriage?
Question is from Durham, North Carolina. Can one shave his or her nails every Friday, and how do you know when you're ready for marriage? Imam Nawawi, he mentions that a person should look after him or herself every Jumu'ah. Even if 40 days haven't passed. Even if it isn't obligatory or the recommended time to shave and to cut the things that have to be shaved and cut or should be shaved and cut, he says that a person should look after it on Jumu'ah as a rotation. Jumu'ah is the best day out of the week, the day of dressing up, adorning yourself, etc. Now, so you should look after that. So inshallah, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't make the intention or the specific niyyah that is something special to do just because of Friday. That's the mushkila. Everyone understand this? As far as how do you know when you're ready for marriage, that's a difficult question because who's ready for marriage? Financially ready. There's always an extra bill. There's always a bigger house, a bigger car. There's always more money to save. Who's ready for marriage with regards to maturity? You might find a grown man who's immature. He laughs and giggles. Or he can't control his anger, or he can't have a basic conversation. A grown man, when he doesn't get his way, he behaves like a child. A child. Do we understand what this means? Everything is smooth as long as it's my say-so. The moment things don't go my way, explosion. It's a lack of maturity. Is he ready for marriage? And he kept gray in his hair. Okay? Who's ready for marriage with regards to Islamic knowledge? Do you know all the rulings of marriage? All the rulings of raising a child, the rulings of menstruation, the rulings of a household? There's so many different categories. No one is ever going to be 101% ready for marriage. There's always going to be something. Money, maturity, physical, busy. There's always going to be something to do. Everyone understand? That's the point I'm trying to make. So therefore, if there's a need to get married, and you have the ability to do it in a basic way, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you may have some shortcomings as a husband or a wife, but you can basically make it work. It's manageable. And do it. Inshallah ta'ala. If the situation is good for you. Put your trust in Allah and seek the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what I would say. Wallahu alam.
Initials HP from Sacramento, California. Mufti, I've always seen my cousin from Pakistan wearing a taweez, or a type of black necklace with a sewed up leather type of thing that has a folded paper with Ayatul Kursi. They've told me that this protects them from sihr and jinn possession. Is it permissible to wear this leather necklace with Ayatul Kursi? May Allah open for you and me the 8 doors of paradise.
Tayyib. Question regarding wearing a ta'weez. A black leather pouch or brown leather pouch, any type of pouch or wristband or bracelet upon which or in his Ayatul Kursi. And this protects me from sihr. Is this permissible? So on and so forth. The correct view, al-qawl al-rajih, inshallah ta'ala, the correct view is that these things a Muslim must avoid. You must avoid wearing any type of ta'weez, whether the ta'weez is positive or negative. Positive ta'weez would be Ayatul Kursi, or dua from authentic hadith, or something from the Quran. There's no shirk involved. Listen carefully. There's no shirk involved. There's no names of jinn. There's no name of this wali or this saint. It's the kalam of Allah written down. The speech of the Prophet ﷺ written down, and you put it on a bracelet or a necklace. The correct view, inshallah, the safest view, is that you should not wear that or hang that up or wrap that around you, period. And obviously there are scholars who hold the view that it is permissible, as long as it's the kalam of Allah or something from the authentic adhkar, things like this. Everyone understand this? As far as something as the name of a jinn, or this wali, or this sheikh, or some unknown type of backwards acronym, or some type of, something that's unknown, majhulatul ma'na, then of course that's haram. Of course that's haram. The problem with wearing the ta'weez upon which there's Ayatul Kursi is that it can lead to you becoming laxed. It can lead to a person say, oh, we'll try this too. And this is the tafsir of the Ayatul Kursi by a sheikh written in Urdu. And it may be. But then the next person comes along and it's some, fulan, calling on this one and that one. It can lead to that. Let alone the fact that it may be desecrated. Person may have Ayatul Kursi on his neck or something, and he may spit or curse or have intercourse or something else wearing it, and it may become disrespected. Let alone the fact that it's said the dhara'a. You have to cut it off. You can't give no way in which it can gradually lead to the shirk. So therefore, a ta'weez, no matter what is upon it, should not be worn. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is the only one that can protect people from sihr. Has He made asbab? Oh yes, there are reasons, for sure. There are reasons behind being protected from sihr. But Allah Azza wa Jalla at the end of the day is the one who protects you from sihr. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Nothing can harm you unless Allah wills that. And the best guidance is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. He did not wear a ta'weez. He did not wear an amulet. And he was the one who told the people about sihr and informed them about it and gave them the protection therefrom. Wallahu alam.
Initials SH from Sheffield, UK. What does the verse ask the people of dhikr refer to? Is it Ahlul Kitab, or can it refer generally to people of knowledge?
Question is about the verse ask the people of dhikr if you do not understand, if you do not know. Is it pertaining to Ahlul Kitab, or does it generally refer to the people of knowledge? Both. There are many verses in the Quran that were sent down about Ahlul Kitab, those who had knowledge of the previous scriptures. But it's applicable to any other learned man, any other alim. Allah mentions this in the Quran in several ayat, Surah Al-Ma'idah. بِمَا اسْتُحْفِظُوا مِنْ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ وَكَانُوا عَلَيْهِ شُهَدَاءَ. Many ayat Allah talks about they were entrusted with the book. Ulama Bani Israel, the scholars of Bani Israel. Many ayat. And those verses apply to the scholars of this ummah as well. فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. Allah says, woe to those who write the book with their what? With their hands. And this is tremendous balagh in this ayah. Because people in most cases, they're not going to write a book except with what? With their hands. Some people may write a book with their toes or their mouths. But most people write books with what? With their hands. But Allah mentions it, بِأَيْدِيهِمْ, for a specific reason, emphasis, that they made things up and they wrote things themselves. And then said, هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, it's from Allah. So therefore, even though it's sent down about the Jews or the Christians, it does not mean that it does not apply to the Muslim scholars as well, with regards to referring back to them, asking them, or cursing them, those who use it for worldly gain, who rely upon Allah Azza wa Jal. Everyone understand this? وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. Allah says that you will clarify it to the people and not hide it. Utul Kitab, talking about Jews and Christians. But it's also applicable to what? To scholars today who have knowledge and don't teach and don't spread that knowledge. Everyone understand this? So therefore it's applicable to both. Wallahu a'lam.
And it shows SM from London, UK. Should Muslims believe that the earth is flat or round, and which belief is more consistent with Kitab and Sunnah?
I believe we took this question the other day, I think, in Philadelphia. Probably sounds like a repetitive question with regards to flat earthers versus round earthers. Wallahu a'lam.
Initial ZD from Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum mufti. What kind of clothes can a Muslim woman wear when going to the gym? As an abaya or jilbab may be difficult for her to exercise in.
Questions from Toronto with regards to a Muslim sister going to the gym. What type of clothes can she wear? The general rule is that when a Muslim is in front of non-mahram men, she must wear and she must comply to the requirements of the hijab. Whenever you're in front of non-mahram men, whether it's going to the gym, working out, running, hospital, whatever you're doing, you must meet those requirements, period. Unless it's a necessity. Unless it's something which is very difficult and there's a need. Your personal fitness and health and trimming up or this and that does not trump that. And that's because there are alternatives, such as women's gyms. There are alternatives, such as personal working out. There are alternatives, such as going to the gym at a certain time, getting a personal trainer, having an appointment when the gym is closed or barely no one is there. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym during the gym hours and wear sweatpants and a shirt because you have to get in shape or you have to lose weight or you have an issue with your cardiovascular, whatever the case may be. All right? So whenever you're in front of non-mahram men, the rule applies, the proper hijab. Unless it is a necessity or a great need. Everyone understand this? So there are many alternatives, such as I said, women's gyms. And oftentimes, I mean, of course, there's nothing like a trainer. There's nothing like a gym versus you having equipment in your house. Everyone isn't self-motivated. Everyone can't read in their house. Some people have to go to the masjid. Some people have to go to the library. But you have to train yourself to do it. And you have to sacrifice that for that. My hijab versus my self-motivation. So no one stops you from getting a jump rope in your house or the roller thingy, right? Mats, different videos. There's all different ways that you can work out. 3 sisters, 5 sisters can come together and work out, get in shape. Some sisters, perhaps, bidnillah, have knowledge of nutrition and dieting and health. So there are many different alternatives. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And Allah knows best.
Next question is from London, UK. Initials AB. What's the ruling on being a rat for the police/government, especially against fellow Muslims, would this nullify someone's Islam?
Questions from where?
London, UK.
Questions from London. What's the rule on being la rata, huh? A rat? Ratting on Muslims. Does this nullify one's Islam, so on and so forth? I believe we talked about this before, snitching and ratting. I'll tell you this. You bringing harm to your fellow Muslim brother. Then you bringing harm to your fellow Muslim brother to get yourself out of the hot seat, to get yourself out of harm's way. That is totally dishonorable and unbefitting of a person who believes in the law and in the last day. Me bringing harm to my Muslim brother, period. Let alone me sacrificing you for me. It's utterly dishonorable and unbefitting of one who believes in the law and the last day. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us, Al-Muslimu akhul Muslim, that the Muslim is the brother of the Muslim. He does not wrong him. La yadhlimuhu. He does not forsake him. La yakhdhuluhu. Wa la yuslimuhu. Nor does he turn him over to his enemies. That's turning over a Muslim to his enemies with nothing with regards to you. The enemies come. Where did he go? Where's he at? He said he's down there in the basement. Let alone you're guilty of the same crime that he's guilty of, and you turn him over to get yourself. That's unbefitting of a Muslim. It's unbefitting of a Muslim, and it cannot be done. It's shameful and it's dishonorable. Okay, in which you are ratting on a Muslim, snitching on a Muslim, whether you did it or whether you didn't do it at all. It's both. It's no difference. And of course, it's going to be worse if you what? You were involved in a crime as well. And unfortunately, we live in a time in a society in which people say, oh, well, we can go to the authorities, we can talk about the Muslims, we can report the Muslims, whether they're wrong or right, deviant or not, they're doing something wrong, we can just go. What happens? Maybe you do know a Muslim that's going to do some haram acts that are haram. Don't doubt about it. But what happens when you go to the non-Muslims and you report this Muslim who's thinking about these haram? What happens? You don't think they're going to come back to you? You don't think they're going to exploit that? You don't think they're going to try to infiltrate the Muslims' ranks even further? So we have to be mindful of what's going to happen. And of course, many non-Muslims, they ask the question, well, wouldn't you cooperate if you knew a Muslim was going to blow something up or do this and do that? Wouldn't you tell? Wouldn't you contact? So first of all, how would I even be in contact with someone like that? How do I know someone's personal dealings that they're about to involve themselves in something destructive and haram? That's a friend or an associate. If I'm walking down the street and I see someone doing something, of course, that's a different story. You're going to try to stop it, run, whatever you can to prevent damage and harm to yourself and others. That's not the same as you being a rat, an informant, and you spying and sneaking and snooping and recording and presenting yourself as a brother and smiling and shaking hands. That's a different story. So let's not mix the two concepts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best.
Question. Initials MI from Birmingham, UK. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. What's the ruling on a woman donating her unwanted breast milk to a hospital, which possibly goes towards a milk bank mixed with other breast milk for other babies?
Tayyip. The last question we'll take tonight. A sister wants to donate unwanted breast milk to a breast bank or breast milk bank. Tayyip. At the end of the day, we know that when a child suckles from a woman 5 times, there's now a relationship between the mother and that child. A mother that prevents and allows certain things, marriage with regards to other children, some type of relation, mahramiyya, yani. Mahramiyya. Okay, as the Prophet ﷺ says, with regards to يحرم من الرضاعة ما يحرم من النسب أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. He says that when there is suckling, there is lineage. Meaning, you can't marry this woman, this girl, who will also suckle by the same woman. Hijab. Other rulings that take place and come into effect after a child has fed 5 times. خمس رضعات معلومات. 5 times. So therefore, any child or baby or even a grown person drinking from your breast milk has to be done responsibly. Has to be done responsibly. But you donated the milk. The milk was given to the breast milk bank. What child is going to drink it? Does the child know that it's from this woman and this mother? We have to ask ourselves these questions. It's not the same as you feeding a baby, nursing a baby. You know the sister who's the mother. The baby knows. That's a different story. We're talking about a random donation, like giving blood. You don't know, a Muslim can take it, a non-Muslim can take it, etc. All right? So therefore, if a woman has unneeded breast milk and there's no need for it, perhaps she should try to offer that milk to the Muslims. And oftentimes many sisters have babies and they have a shortage of milk. One of the things that many women are pregnant or feeding, they have a problem with this, with shortage of milk. There's a difficulty. So I'm sure there's going to be a Muslim that can benefit from it. And I'm sure there's going to be a Muslim that you can precisely document the suckling. As far as just giving the milk, you don't know who's going to take it. You don't know what's going to happen. The harms aren't necessarily going to be there because it's random. How many people are in London? How many people are in the UK? Thousands, millions of people. You don't know who's who, what's what. Nor is it traced or tracked back to that woman. Wallahu alam.